Hi, I'm here today to address the gap in writing instruction that we have found to be the case at McHenry High School in the 10th grade English classes. My name is Margie Carhart. I'm one of the team leaders of the English 2 PLC. And if you have any questions, you can, of course, ask me during the presentation or contact me through my email address available on this presentation, which I will share with all of you at the end. So we have been seeing a trend in the writing scores in the 10th grade curriculum in the 10th grade year over the last few years that have been concerning. As you look at the problem in front of you, you can see that from the year 2016 over on the right to 2017 in the middle, all the way to 2018, last year's data, the 10th graders have not grown in a particular writing target that asks them to explain how their evidence connects to their claim. You can see that the red in this graph or this chart shows that over 50% of our students are really struggling with their ability to write this connective type of statement in their essays. And below 50% even come close to meeting or exceeding this standard or this target. And what's unfortunate is that this is a flat line. There has been no growth over the last 3 years toward this target. So this truly is a problem that we need to analyze to see what's causing it and also evaluate it to see how to make it better. So in looking at writing instruction, the current research tells us a lot. Teachers, when they're going through their teacher training in university, really have never been taught how to teach writing well. It's been overlooked for a long time. As a matter of fact, the National Commission on Writing, even almost 20 years ago, talked about how of the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, writing, of course, has been neglected. The math and sciences, the STEM courses, have been kind of raised in their status over the last 10 years. Even everyone knows in our district, we're building a $45 million addition to our school for STEM classes. And this really, though it is important to promote STEM classes, we really have overlooked the need for students to be strong communicators in writing. Also looking at the research, current writing instructors and even historically have tried to address the gap in writing in several prescriptive type of strategies. One of them is by using mentor texts and modeling. Mentor text is basically showing students examples of strong writing. We can show them examples of how professional authors have built connective sentences between claims and evidence. And using these mentor texts has been shown in the research to improve student writing. Another method is to conference with students, to be really individual in our writing instruction. Of course, this is really hard to do when you have 120 students a day in an English class, and you're teaching, 6 of the 8 periods in a day. It's hard to find the time for one-on-one conferencing, but the results of this, the research shows, have been dramatic. When students get one-on-one feedback, not just through comments on their paper, but through a discussion with their teacher, their writing scores improve significantly. Another strategy that the research has shown works is a truly prescriptive strategy called self-regulated strategy development, or SRSD. This is like a 6-step strategy that teachers would implement, and it requires memorization on the student's part to develop these skills. And if teachers do follow this 6 steps really carefully and prescriptively, then the research shows that students' writing scores have grown. The problem is that teachers don't follow the steps so carefully, and then the results of the students' growth are mixed. So let's compare the three of these. I mentioned a few of the weaknesses of some of them, but looking at these strategies, the impact of all three of these is quite high. But it's a feasibility factor that is really interesting when you're looking at the three. I would say modeling writing and mentor text, the feasibility is very high. The English 2 PLC would find mentor texts that are useful. They would learn how to model think aloud writing in front of their students. The SRSD strategy would take some upfront time to train the teachers. And I'm saying the feasibility is medium high just because, as I mentioned earlier, some teachers don't follow through on that prescriptive step-by-step skill implementation as well as others. And then, of course, conferencing and revision work based on conferencing, I say is medium high because of the time constraint. But I think that if we do indeed provide mentor texts and think alouds and use conferencing and commenting with students, we will see huge benefits in our class writing scores. What will this look like in our classroom? Well, teachers will have mentor texts. They will be writing in front of students on the whiteboard or however they want to do it, from their computer projected in front of students. There'll be a lot of this modeling and thinking aloud. There will be a lot of conferencing, and this may, of course, be a challenge, but it's a new way of teaching writing. The students will see that they need to explain their evidence as the mentor texts show them, and they will be having consistent meetings with their teachers. Classrooms will have lots of mentor texts available. We can implement a station rotation model where students are busy doing different tasks in this newly implemented writing instruction, and the seating will be flexible. And then the result is that the students' work will show that they are writing very clearly about how their evidence connects to their claims. So just like overlooking the whole action plan, we said that students struggle with explaining and writing how their evidence connects to their claim. And we have owned that as teachers, we don't teach this articulation between claim and evidence very clearly, and we don't give students enough time to practice in developing the language to do that. So we decided together that the best way to mitigate this problem would be for teachers to integrate mentor texts, modeling, and conferencing through station rotation. So with these ideas in mind, we have a little timeline we set out to do this. August, we would gather and prepare our mentor texts and give professional development. September, observe master teachers who have these skills already well developed and are using them in their classroom. This may mean going to other schools. This may mean bringing experts into our school. And then October through the end of the first semester, we just need to practice implementing these strategies in our classrooms. And by the end of the first semester, evaluate how we're doing in them. Based on that evaluation and looking at the scores at the end of the first semester writing assessment, we can continue PD, observing, and practicing. So the next step, of course, would be to look at our scores. Is this really going to be a problem in the future? Maybe if we implement these scores or these strategies, our scores will not flatline anymore. We'll evaluate this through prescriptive teacher survey and looking at the scores at the end of the year. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and if you have any questions, please contact me.